Okay, traders, welcome to the Algo Studio Pro YouTube playlist. Now, our intention here with this playlist is to take you through the features of Algo Studio Pro one at a time, so that anyone that may be considering adding ASP to their trading arsenal can get a good look at the features and see that with this software, anyone can design a tradable algo without any coding knowledge whatsoever. This will also serve as a resource for any that have invested in ASP, as a place you can refer back to should you get stuck on something, or perhaps you're looking for some new ideas. There's really no limit to what you can do with ASP as you develop more and more experience working with it. So in a series of short videos, we're going to start with a walkthrough of how to create a very basic algo, and then optimize the ATM to trade it. From there, we'll review the results and decide if the algo that we just created perhaps needs some additional work. You may want to add or even subtract some of the conditions that you've designed into your algorithm. And as you see, you get immediate feedback with this. One of the beautiful features of this is that with the slightest modification, we can immediately see the result in our equity curve and our statistics. And that, well, of course, that will get easier. That will be easier for me to demonstrate rather than me to verbalize it to you, but we'll get into that shortly. The algos we design here, they're going to increase in complexity as we add more and more to the playlist. But we want to start with the very, very basics for those that don't have experience. So those of you that do have experience, don't worry. We don't want you to feel as though you won't have content that will be of use to you, but we have to start with the very basics here so that for all users, they have a resource to come to help them get started. So again, we will add more and more complexity to these as we add more and more to the playlist, but we want to start with just the very basics. So it's not necessarily that complexity makes them better, it's rather to demonstrate what you can do with this so that those that want to create complexity can do it. So with all of that said, let's get right into some very, very basics. Now, to start with, it's important that you understand that Algo Studio Pro, the product, is divided into two components. When you install the product, you install it as you would any indicator, and you'll see the Algo Designer will be in your list of indicators as you see here. Here it is, Algo Studio Pro, and you can see I've already added it here to this chart. Now, in adding it to the chart, the only thing I see on the chart here with the basic settings here is that I can see that I now have an option to access the Algo Studio Pro from the Ninja menu at the top. And that's how I'm going to get into it. And that's how you'll usually get into it rather than coming here and getting into the parameters. But we do have some parameters here that we want to just do a walkthrough just in the interest of being thorough so that everybody understands. Okay, so duly noted, now we have this Studio Designer that you're going to access in your indicators, and then once we've created the algo that we want to trade, then we're going to access that from the strategy menu within Ninja. So it will automatically put the Algo Studio Pro Trader into your strategy menu, so you don't have to worry about that. You're not going to load them separately. But I just want to make that distinction because we had some people that were unclear of that because they haven't worked with Ninja strategies in the past. And so that can be a little confusing if you haven't worked with it. So with that said, let's just get into the basics here. Now, at the top here, of course, for all of our products, you're going to put your email and your customer ID number in that. It's left blank here for my purposes here. You don't need to see mine. But number one, at the top here, this is where you're going. Once you created an algo, this is where you're going to access them to, again, either further enhance them, change them, tweak them, modify them, or or essentially this is where you can consistently add new ones, right? So for example, you see all the algos here that I've designed here just in this folder. I probably have over 100 of them just in terms of things that we've been creating through the launch period of this product. These just happen to be mine. So that's where you're going to add them. I'm going to leave this blank because we're going to design one from scratch. Just as I could continue to take you through the parameters here, most of this you can leave as default. Here, this is market or limit. You do have the capability in your back test to use a limit order or market. For most, when you're doing your initial testing, market probably okay. But again, we're giving you the option to add a limit order plus or minus a couple of ticks if you so choose. Working down here, you're probably a good idea to add some commission. That's just a round number here we can use here, pretty standard. Initial capital, that's probably fine for a default for your initial testing. Alerts, that if you want the signals to fire an alert, you have that option. I would suggest you leave that off for now. It's just color choices. It's basic stuff here. Now, when we get into the statistics, now my suggestion here is it would be to leave the signals on, but equity curve and stats off. I only say that because the more and more you work with it, you're going to find a big block here, which you'll see in a minute, is going to appear up on the left, which is going to have the stats and the equity curve. You may find, as I do, that after a while you don't want that showing up every time because it's going to block, a big quarter of the chart. So I choose to access them from the algo, which I'll demonstrate to you momentarily. So, but again, I think in the default, when you first load it, I think those are going to be checked on. It's not a big deal, but just a suggestion from someone who uses it a lot. Oh, as we work down here, all of this is just standard Ninja stuff. You shouldn't be any issue. I'm going to go ahead and turn those off. It shouldn't be anything you need to change here, although calculate, you do want to leave that on each tick. Now, as to the chart in the background here, this is a 10 range on the ES. I'm recording this on June 8th. So we're just going to use the most recent 30 days of data, which is a good starting point for a back test. You can use a bit less, but 30 is a good number, so it's statistically significant. You're going to have a wide variety of trading conditions, which is what you're after. So you want to see trending days and non-trending days. So the algo is being tested through those different conditions. So 30 is a good starting point. And then on the chart here, as I always do, I have our toolbar. I have our initial balance just to frame the day, and then I have just a 21 EMA. It happens to be an EMA that changes the color based on the slope, but there's nothing fancy, right? It's still just an EMA. It just has that color option built into it. So as you see here, it's just a 21 period EMA. That's all we're doing. That's what we're going to use for our first algo. We're just going to create a basic algorithm oriented off of the 21 EMA. So we're going to get into that momentarily, but I'm going to separate this as the introductory video for the playlist, and then we'll get started on our very basic algo creation in video number 2. Okay, with that, I'll see you there.